Hello, welcome back. We are in an actual studio again. It's very exciting. We're all far apart from each other, way more than 6 feet. But we are together to hopefully make these videos even easier and more fun to watch. I am Amber. I'll be answering your questions, and much more importantly, we have Gabriela.
Hello,
Yay.
hello, hello.
So today we're going to be answering any questions you have, and we will also be talking through some of the wonderful vintage pieces from Gabriela's collection. There are oh so many, very, very exciting. If you would like to, please put where you are watching from in the comments, because it's always fun. It's always fun for me. It never gets old. So please do that if you don't mind. And then that's all. If you have questions at any time, just write them in there and I will respond or have Gabriela respond to them. And other than that, yeah, just take it away, Gabriela. What piece do we have first?
Well, I have a few pieces today, and most of them are from the 1950s, but some of the materials date even earlier than that. So the first piece I have is it's a 3-piece set, and it's got this piece that I guess you put things inside of it, so it's a container. You can kind of see it. It's made out of a material called marble cellulose plastic, and it's a really cool type of material. They don't make this plastic anymore. The only places now that you can find this type of plastic is in like guitar picks. They still make guitar picks out of this material, but it's got a really neat translucency to it. And this one is a piece that came with this, so it's a 3-piece set. This one actually holds like a lipstick you could put, or something, or pins. You could put pins inside of this little case, but it's very, very thin, and that was one of the interesting parts about this material, that can be made very, very thin. They also use this material now for ping pong balls. They make ping pong balls out of this same material. But this one was used for a little set like this, and the coloring and the type of translucency that you can get with it is so pretty.
Yeah.
But they don't use this plastic too much anymore for like materials like this, or things that you would keep, because it is highly flammable. If you know anything about ping pong balls, you know that if you get heat near them, they burst into flames. So that's why it's not as widely used. But it's been around since the late 1800s, this material. Called different names at the beginning, but it's still a cellulose type material. And it was first it was used to make like fake ivory, because ivory was something very popular in the 1870s, and so a lot of people like jewelry and other pieces made from ivory, and ivory was expensive, so they made this type of plastic material to make cheap imitations of ivory that sold really, really well. So that's why that material got more popular. And then they figured that it had this kind of translucent quality, and they made faux tortoiseshell material, because this is what this is. It's kind of meant to look like a tortoiseshell, but it's not. It's made out of a plastic material. So a lot of things were made from this, and in the 50s it was used a lot to make things for the kitchen, you know, like kitchen containers and things like that. That were all different types of marbled material, some like white marble, and pink marble materials. All of that is the same material as this. So very, very cool material, interesting, and it gives a really great effect. And very hard right now to get that type of effect with newer plastics, because they just don't have that translucency that this does. But sadly, we can't get this material manufactured anymore in this way, because of other properties that are kind of not conducive to manufacturing at this point. But it's a really great material, and it's actually related to Bakelite. So if you know Bakelite jewelry, it's related to that as well. Another material that's sadly not being able to be produced, but makes really, really pretty colors and pretty textures, actually, when you see it.
So they would use that kind of plastic in the kitchen, even though it was so flammable, because
Yes.
they clearly didn't know at the time. But
Yes, they did. In
Wow.
the 50s, it was widely used for kitchen things, in all kinds of containers to put, cookies, flour, this, that,
Yeah.
whatever. So yes, it was used quite a bit, and now it's kind of not used as much. But if you have seen, the guitar picks, you know that they have that same translucency, and that's why, because it's the same type of material. But it's very limited use right now because of those properties. But it is a cool material, and when you see pieces of it from that time period, you can appreciate how kind of glamorous it is, because it's so thin and translucent. It almost looks like glass.
Yeah.
But it's not. So it's kind of a neat material. So that was one I wanted to show you.
We have a couple of questions, if you don't mind.
Yes,
giving
of
those,
course.
Gabriela.
Yes.
So one, we have a quick question about the Lucy orders shipping out from Blondie Esquire. She is excited about her order and is just making sure that they're shipping out soon.
I think all of them should have shipped out by now, but if you didn't get your confirmation of shipping number, please call our customer service, because they'll be glad to help you look that up and make sure everything's out. But everything should have gone out already this week. So please check with our customer service if you didn't get your tracking number.
And you can email them at info@bestofmakecosmetics.com as well, which can be a little bit easier. And yeah, things are, we just had such a huge number of orders.
Yeah, I know, it
got a
just
little
totally
behind.
took us by surprise, that one. It just, I know that a lot of you were disappointed that you didn't get the lipsticks. That's why we decided to rerun these. Usually we don't do these for these collections, but because of the fact that so many people did not get to get any lipsticks at all, we ran more lipsticks. So you can pre-order them right now. We'll have those as soon as we can possibly get them over here. So we're working really hard to get those shipped over and filled here. So as soon as they're available, they will ship out as well.
Cool. So we had Lana Del Slay, love the name, wanted to know if you have any the jewelry kind of lipstick holders that they did in the 50s. We don't have one for today, but
I don't have any. Not that I can remember. I know which ones you're talking about. There were a lot of different types of casings that were made in the 50s for lipsticks, and refillable casings, or casings that you could buy as an addition to your lipstick, so that you could change the case and then put different inside pieces inside, so different lipsticks, and then you just change the outer casings. So those were very popular. I don't have that many of those in my collection, but I've seen them, and I know which ones you're talking about. If I can find any of them, I'll show them again in another episode. But yes, those are very neat, and they were very popular as well, because women like to use the cases to match their outfits or things when they went out, so they would vary the color of the casings and things to go with their outfits.
And let's see, we had another comment. We had Anna was just reading War Paint and about Elizabeth Arden and Helena Rubinstein. Do you have any of their original products? I wonder if you've showed at least.
Yes,
before,
I have.
think.
Yes, I have a few of them. Yes, I have a few of them. Actually, yeah, we had the patter that we showed in another episode that is used to pat the face. In that's
that was how the patter. Yes, it was
yes,
just a little rubber thing that you would pat your face with for blood flow, right?
Yeah, Elizabeth Arden made some of those. So a lot of I do have products from them, early color products. Both of them started with skin care. So their lines both started with skincare. I don't have originals of their skincare, but I do have other lines from the same period, and then I do have some of the color that came after, that they introduced after the skincare had gotten some notoriety in the market, so that they were able to kind of diversify and have all kinds of products. So I do have quite a bit in my collection from both of those ladies.
And then Elise had a question. This is about more of our makeup question.
Sure.
Which cake mascara looks more natural for a no makeup look on a pale, cool toned skin? Would you recommend the purple or the brown?
For a kind of no makeup look, I would probably go for the brown because it definitely could, pass off as your own lashes. If you curl them and you put some on, it would kind of enhance but not look like you purposely put on mascara that was darker than your hair. So I would say probably the brown looks more natural.
Yeah.
But the black is very soft, so it still gives you a natural look. It's just that your lashes would look darkened instead of being their natural color.
Yeah. And I would say, because I'm a very pale, coolish tone person, so I would definitely recommend the brown, because the purple is also darker than it might seem in the tin, especially on lashes. It's almost blackish. It's still a very cool color. I'm wearing the purple liner today. But yeah, I think brown is good for almost anybody for more of that like no makeup kind of look.
Yeah. And also remember, on these you don't need a lot of water, so don't put too much water on the cake or on your applicator, because if you thin it too much, then you're taking away the ability of it to thicken the lash and to give you more lashes, and more visible difference in your lashes. So do not put too much water on the cake, and definitely do not put water in the tin, because that's supposed to stay dry. So remember, the cake, if you put the right amount of water, it will dry by itself by the time you finish putting on your makeup. So it shouldn't be wet when you're done. It should be just dry and be ready to be put away.
We have lots of questions today. Thank you, guys. These are really cool. A quick one, what lipsticks are we wearing? I'm wearing the What a Peach Lucy lipstick.
And I'm wearing the
Love
Lucy
That
lipstick
Redhead.
and the Love That Redhead with the liner on it, and that's why the liner is darker.
Yeah, and please try, if you do have the pencils, it really changes the color in such a pretty way to have the liner with the lipstick. Let's see, how Lana Del Slay again asks, how did you replicate the same lashes for the Lucy lashes? How did you replicate and get that shape? Because she said it's spot on.
Oh, thank you. I studied, I had pictures from the Lucy Museum of her actual lashes that she did use in performing. So from those lashes, I analyzed lashes that were manufactured in the same period, and I actually have some lashes from that period that I managed to find. So I studied the hair and the way those lashes were put together, and then I worked with a lash manufacturer to actually replicate those lashes. So the length of the hair, the thickness of the hair, the color of the hair, the way the hair is attached to the band, and the way the band is almost invisible, and the lash is really light. As if you notice when you hold that lash, it's like a really fine light lash, even though it's very long, because it is extra long, but that's the way she wore them. And a lot of women in the 40s wore lashes that were excessively long like this. It was very common. So the length is a lot longer than some lashes, but also it's very lightweight. So it doesn't feel heavy, it feels really light. And it looks rather natural when you put it on, even though it's so long. So that was part of it, because she uses very long lashes, but it wasn't supposed to look like she was, performing in a nightclub. It was supposed to look like a housewife. So that kind of very thin hair is what made it soft enough to look more natural, even though it was so long.
And they were not easy to make these lashes, right? Because they're so,
No.
it's really hard to find anything like
No,
them, honestly,
no,
nowadays.
it was a long process because we had to find the right hair, the right technique of putting it together, the right length of the hair. And these lashes kind of are all the same length all the way through, which lashes now, go from, they taper, because that's how kind of it looks more natural in a more modern way. But back then, all the lashes were actually made all the same length. To give you that kind of very long, straight up type of look. So it took a long time to, number one, find a manufacturer that would do custom work like this, but also it took several months just of going back and forth to find the right hair and the right length and color and construction to actually look the way that it was supposed to look. So it was a longer process than I thought it would be when I first started it, but I think it came out pretty close, so I'm happy with it. But it was rather lengthy to actually make these lashes, yes.
We have another question from Fiona. Would you say there are any essential products to look for when collecting vintage cosmetics and vanity items?
Well, it depends what you like. I mean, if you intend to use these products because you want to use them, like take a compact, for example, and you want to use the compact, you would probably look for compacts that you would want to carry, and then for some that you can clean out really well and put a new product inside, or some that were already empty and you can fill with new product. So something that you can adapt to use probably would be good if you plan to use it. Obviously, don't buy any products to actually use the product, because remember, these things have other ingredients that we no longer use. Some of them are dangerous ingredients that you wouldn't want to put on your face. So don't use don't use products that are from vintage containers. But you can certainly reuse the container. If you clean it out really well, you can refill lipsticks with a new lipstick if they're the same diameter, and you can refill powder compacts if you want to put a new refill into a compact, or use it for loose powder compacts, which there are many loose powder compacts that are quite pretty. So if you want to collect them for that purpose, that's great. If you just want to collect them to display, it really depends on what era is attractive to you and what kind of product you like. I mean, a lot of people like to collect things that are just visually pretty, and they like compacts because they have so many different designs, or they like lipsticks, or they like perfume bottles. A lot of people collect perfume bottles because there's so many very beautiful ones from different eras. So people collect those. So it really depends where your interests lie and what you want to use these things for. I mean, I collect them mostly for research because I just like to find out about companies, and I like to learn about materials and construction and things like that. So I'm kind of more analytical with my collection than most other collectors would be. But I mean, you can collect them just because they're pretty, I think, too.
Yeah. For sure, especially since you will get to mostly, just look at them.
Yes.
Rather than use them how we do now. A couple quick questions. One was just a question about the perfumes. We will have perfumes again,
Yes.
but it's going to be about a year or so. And then also the lipstick holders. So the lipstick holders we've had in the past aren't coming back the exact ones, but there might be more lipstick holders in the future. And if you're in Burbank, I think there's still a couple of the ceramic ones left in the actual physical store if you live close by. So we had that. Also, Natalie did ask if I ever do hair tutorials. I don't, because my hair, I just pin curl it, and I will tell you that unless your hair is almost identical to mine, what I do would be worthless to everybody. So, so that's very nice. Very nice that anyone likes my hair. Very cool. And if there's like great demand to see me pin curl it, who knows? But I think for the most part, that'd be not super interesting. But thank you so much. And yeah, look up other pin curl applications online if you're interested in trying something without heat. That would be my recommendation for that. So a more important question. that I really liked was, is there a lipstick from the past, Gabriela, that you wish would come back today?
A lipstick from the past that would come back today.
And you've brought a lot of them back from the
I
past
brought
already.
a lot of them.
So-
Color-wise or container-wise?
Maybe like one of each, or whichever you kind of
Well,
think of.
container-wise, I love those 1930s kind of sleek containers that have the push-up on the side, and basically the kind of the lipstick rises up as it opens. Those are so cool, and they're really, really beautiful. But they would be very hard to make at this point in time because of the construction and just the way that those were put together. But those would be beautiful if somebody could remake those lipsticks, those containers, As far as the lipsticks themselves, I mean, we've done so many of the vintage ones. There are, there's always new colors. We always look for new colors. There are some colors that sometimes I'm searching for that I cannot find. Like discontinued ones that maybe actresses wore in the past that I know they wore a specific one, but I can't find a tube of it. So I keep looking for those. So I'm always on the hunt for a certain color that a certain celebrity wore in the 50s or in the 30s or, in different periods. And I'm always on the lookout for those. And when I find them, I snag them, and then I try to reproduce them whenever I can get a hold of any of them. But I'm always on the lookout for certain ones, for sure.
Okay, we are getting a lot of spammers today. I don't know why. So if I sometimes have a quizzical look, it's because some strange person is spamming us. So anyway, just to let you know about that. Let's see. So neat. Just letting me remove a couple things here. So that's that. Let's get to, I think that's all the questions for now. If you have more questions, let us know in the comments for sure.
Okay.
And then, yeah, what's our next vintage makeup?
Okay, so this next one I have is a little tiny container. It's called Lash Coat. I don't know if you can see it there. So it's a little glass bottle, and it says Lash Coat on it. And it was meant to be a lash enhancer. So this was made in the late 40s, 50s, and it was a precursor to other types of wand mascaras. So instead of actually having a wand that I think this got stuck in here, but maybe I can get it out.
And wait, when was this one from again?
It's late 40s and 50s. This product was around, so it was a precursor to your wand mascaras, but instead of having a wand inside, it actually has a stick like this.
That's so tiny.
Yeah, it's like a tiny little stick. You see, and in the stick, it had a liquid product inside, and you would dip the stick in it and then just run it through your lash. So it was a kind of a wand, a very early wand type mascara. So it came like this. It had this little wand thing and this little bottle of the Lash Coat here. So it was a solvent type base, this product, so it did dry. So it was kind of a precursor to mascaras that we have now that would, but instead of being thick, it was very liquidy. It was a watery type product, but it did dry. So you would dip it in here, and you could, you go like this and coat your lashes, and that's why it was called Lash Coat, I suppose.
Yeah. Good title, yeah.
Yeah, good name for it. Yeah, it was. It says eyelash makeup. But it says waterproof, and that's what kind of gives you the. It was made in Hollywood, California, so it's a local product. And it was brown, so the color wasn't black. This one's brown, but it says it's waterproof. So that kind of tells you that it had some kind of a sealer on it, and that's why it is. It had some kind of a solvent in it, so that it would dry and make it more impervious to water. So kind of an interesting product. I guess people could have used it as an eyeliner too, since you could have run the little stick on your eyes as well as a liner. But kind of an interesting little tiny precursor to mascaras, other type of mascaras. So this was kind of different than the ones that were available that were either a cake at the time or a cream. Because in the 50s you also have cream mascaras that came in a little tube, and you would squeeze them out into an applicator and then apply the cream. So this was kind of a different type of formula than those two. And I guess the selling point was that it was waterproof and that it had this wand that you just put on there. So kind of an interesting one.
We have a couple more questions.
Yes.
We have, let's see. How did you match Red Hot Red to the Marilyn Monroe lipstick?
Well, that was interesting. It's hard to get a lot of information on Marilyn Monroe because there's so many secrets around her technique and what she used and all of these things, and her makeup artist and all that. But there were certain colors that were her favorite, that were kind of rumored to have been her favorite, or that she did own. So some of these colors kind of gave me the inkling and inspiration for this color. So it was a combination of what you see on the screen for that film and also colors that she actually owned at the time. So between those two things together, I came up with the color that I think is pretty close to what she had.
And it does look like such a close match for a lot of those press photos, especially in Some Like It Hot, and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a close. It's close. I just don't. I kind of had to make up in between, so I went from two different pieces of information, and I kind of honed down what I thought was probably my best interpretation of what that color was.
Cool. We've lots of questions about nail polish today.
All right.
Lots of fun questions. Would you consider making a nail polish was one of the questions.
Yes, we do. We had some for some colors in the past, so we are having nail polish. So just expect, just look at our postings and social, and you should, we should announce it as soon as we have something. We'll let you guys know.
And we had a question about, would you ever do 90s colors, like the kind of 90s brown red, or 90s colors in general?
90s colors in general. I might do some for other things because those colors were available in other periods too, not only in the 90s. So yes, we probably will. I don't know exactly when, but we probably will.
And like Chocolate Kiss is a color that looks like a very 90s kind of brownish color, even though that was a color from 1970.
Yes. There was a kind of a dark raisin color that was really popular in the 90s, and that, I think that's probably the color they're referring to. So it's kind of a deeper brown shade. Yeah, I know which color you're talking about. I actually have a tube of that as well in my collection. So yeah, we'll definitely consider doing some of that later on. So yes, of course.
I just wanted to share, Sarah said, Gabriela is looking so regal in her deep forest green velvet throne.
Thank you. This is my library chair here.
Yes, your perfect library chair for sure.
Yes.
Cool. I think that's it for right now. Do we have one more vintage
Yeah, we
piece?
do. I have a lipstick here, which is very interesting. The the packaging is kind of cool. It has these lips on it that look very, you know, elongated, kind of celebrity mouth thing. So this is from the 50s, and it's an interesting lipstick because it has the properties where it gives you a stain. It leaves a stain behind. So it says that the color is complements every complexion. So basically this color would go with everybody. Kind of because the idea was that it changes tone, you know, a bit as when you put it on because of the stain that it has behind. So it's like a color changing stain that's underneath a lipstick color that's already red. So it might deepen or change depending on the, you know, the complexion and the acid in your lips, the pH in your lips.
So it had a little bit of that kind of reactive property that like Make It Blue, Make It Pink had, but it also had red pigment on top of it.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think that was their solution to having it fit every complexion.
Yeah.
I guess. I guess. I mean, it's interesting. Some of these products that, you know, that's why they call it red and tone.
Red and tone.
And tone, yeah. So it's red, but then it has a tone underneath,
Oh,
and that. So it's kind of interesting.
I'm so intrigued, but that's one where I wish you could actually try it on, which you will not do. You will not actually put it on, but
no, this I would not put on
interesting.
because it actually has phosphorus in it, which is not great.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't.
What does
you don't know what.
phosphorus do for the lipstick?
I don't know why they
Funny.
put this on here, but you know, that's I wouldn't. Yeah, I that's why I said you have to be really careful with these things because a lot of times they don't publish ingredients in older cosmetics, and they did use some funny things inside of these things. So especially when it comes to colorants and other additives that at the time maybe they thought, you know, either stabilized the color or made the color deeper, things of that nature that you wouldn't want to use now. So don't put these things on your lips. If you want to test them on a surface, test them on, you know, a paper or something else.
Yeah, could you maybe swatch that and put it on your Instagram?
Yeah, I can.
Oh,
I
do you
can.
have paper there?
I can swatch it right
It's
here
not
so you can
exactly the
see.
same, you know, because it's the color changing property.
Yeah,
but that's still neat to see.
it wouldn't change color on a paper
Yeah.
because there's no pH difference here, but
Okay.
you can kind of see the color. It's a very bright,
Yeah.
orangey looking red. It looks way more orange when you put it on than it does look on the stick itself.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a very deep orange shade.
Kind of on the topic of swatching, Fiona asks, what are the best ways to safely color swatch vintage makeup, especially if you're trying to find modern matches to them?
Yeah, well, a paper is good if you want, because you could swatch it on a paper and then take the paper with you when you go to the store, and then swatch the other lipsticks next to it, and then you can see which one actually looks closer to the lipstick that you want. Usually that's a pretty easy way to do it. You can, because in a piece of paper you could just fold it, take it with you, and then just swatch. Nowadays, actually, you can't do that at the stores, but maybe in the future, you will be able to go to the store and swatch lipsticks. But if at full service counters, if you can ask for a swatch of a color, you can again just take that swatch and put it next to your original color and compare them, and it's a pretty easy way to do that if you want. Don't swatch it on your skin and other parts, because it's just as bad as putting it in your lips if you swatch it on your body, because it still has the same chemicals So you don't want to get a reaction from doing that. So don't swatch it on yourself. Swatch it on a surface or a paper or something like that.
There's nothing really in it that if it's just airborne that will hurt you. It's only if it gets in contact with
Yeah,
your skin. So paper's safe.
Exactly, yes. Unless it's a loose powder and you inhale it, which you don't want to do. You know, so don't do that. If you buy loose powders that are vintage, don't open them and get them airborne.
Yeah.
You don't want to breathe those in. So, you know, keep them closed if you buy like large loose powder containers and they are full of powder. You know, try not to open that powder so that it gets airborne all over. Or wear your mask if you're going to do that so that you don't breathe them in.
You got one, so might
yeah,
as well use it.
Double use for your mask.
We have a quick question about would you consider doing Edith Piaf as an icon collection someday?
Oh, she would be great. She would be awesome. I think that's a great suggestion. Thank you. It's she would be great. I'll definitely consider that. I think I love her music. I love her. So I think she would make an excellent iconic woman.
And then we also had, would you consider Dolores Del Rio?
Yes, Dolores is another one of my favorites, and I've been wanting to do something with a Latin woman from the golden age of Hollywood. So definitely, I think Dolores would be great.
And with a lot of these collections, it also comes down to, you know, what are the rights available for that person?
Right.
And there's just a lot of kind of things to consider.
Yes.
But you'll still be doing all kinds of icons in the future. So.
Yes, yeah. It's not only what's available, but also that there are people that I can talk to, because it's important for me to find out more personal information about these people and what they actually wore, what they used, and what they had. And only family members or people who knew them would be able to tell me. So I prefer to do collections with estates or that still have the family members involved. So there are people who can actually advise me on those things.
Yeah. Neat. Well, if you have any other questions, put them in the comments now. Thank you for all those little 50s, or I guess a little bit of the 40s too.
Yeah,
today,
little 40s, 50s.
stuff,
Yes, yeah, interesting products. You know,
very fun and cool. And
yes.
then next week, inspired from something from last week that came up in the questions, Gabriela's going to actually talk all about business advice and starting a business, being an entrepreneur. So if you have any questions for her for that, then definitely tune in next week on Thursday, same time, same place. And she'll be just talking all about that. So she'll take questions. We'll probably also put something up on Gabriela's Instagram. So that's at Besame Girl, to take questions in advance just to make sure we get, you know, all the pertinent information. So if you're a business owner or ever interested in it and having a small business or work for a small business, this is all going to be very, very helpful information. I'm excited about it. And Gabriela had great tips from last week's video already. So you can tune into that if you like on our channel if you want to get a little glimpse of what we'll be focused on. But yeah, that's going to be very, very cool. Awesome. All right. Thank you guys so much. It's been another lovely time. So much good stuff in the comments. A few weird things, but that's okay. That wasn't your fault. And we got rid of that. And Gabriela, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Another wonderful tour. And we will see you next week, next Thursday. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.